Hello, it is I, Moon, and quite frankly, no time for silly introductions and silly intros today because we need to get going. I've spent more than enough time getting distracted and quite frankly procrastinating up until now, and we have an in to actually get working on, and clearly a parade of zombies. Let's go. But hey, before we start, a brief flashback because I still gotta escape the nether. Somehow. I have just spent the past hour or so just mining bone blocks in the nether because I may have run out as I was building. I most definitely didn't calculate things right. And look what I found. It's yet another bastion. Funnily enough, never interacted with a bastion before today, and now suddenly I see two. And maybe it's the false confidence from just rushing through it with my friend earlier, but how about we give it a try? Wow. Okay, I did not know gas could just teleport you like that, but sure. I know so little about bastions, I don't even know if I'm... Okay. Clearly I'm not entirely wrong. Nice. Ooh, I don't know what that one looks like, but I'll take it. Another pig step, amazing. I can hand that over to Egg. And some gold. Lovely. Okay. How about we just... You know? I gotta say though, the way this place looks, I kinda love it. The exposed aesthetic, it's a vibe. Perhaps a bit of an intimidating one when you see all of the hoglins down low, but it's a vibe. I love cheesing things. Wasn't aware you could crit whilst crouching. That is actually pretty powerful. Oh, let's go! I needed bones. I actually really needed bones. I have to say we got quite a bit of stuff just from this additional bastion. I have no clue what the armor trims look like, but I mean, surely they are pretty cool, right? And I very much need to get home. And I'm horrendously lost in the nether. I have somehow managed to find my way back to X portal from back when she lived 3,000 blocks away from me. I also have a feeling I found a third bastion, which is insane, to be frank. Do I just take that portal? Since I do know where it leads? I mean, I would honestly rather run 3,000 blocks in the overworld than not know where I am. Oh, the temptation of going to the bastion is so large. You know what? I would have deserved it if I had died here. I really would have deserved it. Safe is safe. Extraordinarily funny to watch you run after this cat, fish in hand. You're like, please love me. Oh, it worked! Let's go. Now that all of that is out of the way, I do have a confession to make. Now, this little fishing hut over here came to be because I realized I needed to practice building. It's been entirely too long and there are entirely too many blocks that I A, don't know and B, don't know how to use. So this was really good practice on a much smaller scale. Now, there is a rather glaring, one may say, addition and detail to this roof. And it's very much the eyes that are presented throughout. Because what better way to protect a quaint little village from the monstrous creeping up upon them during the night than to watch them first. Now, whilst it is rather unfortunate that I did forget to record me building this entire thing, I will say that I learned a lot in the process. Now, as you can see behind me, I very much did take inspiration from French windows and the way they have these additional shutters on top of their windows. Look, not to be like every single builder out there, but shelves have been such an incredible addition to the game because, wow. I do appreciate that I can now use both trapdoors and shelves at the same time and add a little bit of differing texture. that way. Now, another thing to take into account are entrances, and as this hut features both an open way leading up to the pier, as well as this additional small open balcony, it made sense to also feature opened doors that don't ever really close, and thus, naturally, dirt would be carried in by those who walk in. I hope this was a fun or at least entertaining way of presenting a building, minus the building process. But the first thing we're gonna do is rip out those windows, because I want them to also protrude. I adore this resource pack. It's such a subtle and small change, but it works wonders in just making your world feel more like you. It's great. Oh wow, that's a big tree. That is a tree in capital letters. In fact, that is a tree. Imagine just casually and absent-mindedly doing the wonderful tower of stripped oak and then looking up and seeing a suspiciously fire-shaped hole in the pale garden. Fire tick is on, so this is an actual terrifying sight. I hope I can get there in time before the entire garden burns down, because that thing is the sole reason as to why I'm here. Oh boy. And clearly the urgency of the situation is just incomprehensible. This is fine. Let's go put out a fire. So apparently putting out Minecraft forest fires is insanely hard. This is a struggle. I very much feel like the "this is fine" meme, because everything is burning and it keeps burning more and more. Water physics being my greatest enemy aside, I see that singular block of lava peeking through, because naturally a lava pit is responsible for these shenanigans. I honestly should have known. I thought it was a lightning strike, but I mean, perhaps this is better. I don't know. Stop. I mean, since I am here... Teehee. Well, one crisis averted, and one is very much still an eyesore. Actually, what about a small balcony or a walkway wrapping around this? And we're done. We finally finished this part, which is great because that means we can continue and move on to the remaining 2.5 walls. And honestly, the more I start picking at this, the more I'm starting to have an idea of what I want to do. I've definitely noticed something interesting whilst working on this inn, and it's that my approach to building seems to be the opposite compared to my approach to painting. Whereas usually, I'd start out with a sketch, whether it's lines or paint or whatever, and then kind of work inwards towards the details. This in specifically is very much calling for me to just look at a corner, finish it, move on to the next corner, finish it, rather than doing the entire thing at once. And I think in a way it also translates to the entire town and village that I've planned out here, because sure, I have vague ideas as to what kind of buildings I want to add, but so far it's just been place block, boom, in, place block, boom, fishing hut. And that even with the attempt of somewhat figuring out the layout in advance. Very interesting thing to take note of. And then I essentially went on and did the same thing I did here in a different corner. And I think with the proximity to the fishing hut, this is a good area for a kitchen. I mean, it's an inn. An inn needs a kitchen. Why not place the kitchen where you can easily access the fishing area? Who knows, maybe they just eat a lot of fish. The difficult part is sticking to a certain palette to keep one building recognizable as it is, while still making all of the individual parts and pieces interesting. So here, for example, I'm incorporating the yellow terracotta that we have in the foundation, but just using it as more of a wall pattern than an actual foundation. And now that a large part of the kitchen is done, or, well, the skeleton, let's call it that. The skeleton of the kitchen is done, we gotta add a roof. And whilst I'm doing that in the background, I am rather curious, because, of course, this episode so far, and for the rest of the episode, spoiler alert, is rather building heavy. I'm genuinely curious to know what your guys' opinion on the current editing and video style is, because I don't have that extensive of a YouTube career so far, looking at my record of 2 videos. So any and all advice is it's just very much appreciated. I genuinely wish you could just place carpets like that. I think that could be a very nice thing for Minecraft to add in the future. Wait, since we do have a kitchen here, what if we add like a huge chimney on perhaps this side? Right, time to break the wall. Actually thinking about it, since everything is built out of deep slate, how about I do these out of black stone? Because, maybe the chimney is just a tad bit more charred or something. Now, how tall do I want to go? That genuinely looks huge, but it kind of works. It's unusual for it to not be connected. Thinking many thoughts. Perhaps all of the thoughts. See, this is why I usually go for time lapses. But for the time being, I think I'm happy with the chimney the way it is. I'll probably have to adjust it once we do get to the roof. I sure keep underestimating just how many blocks a build requires, because what do you mean? That just 8. 3 stacks worth of blackstone. And 2 more things, I cannot possibly keep running to eggs every single time I need to access the nether, so I think the next thing we have to do is actually build our own. And on top of that, just finally finish the path between our places, because I need to use the world's slowest horse. But that's a worry for next episode. Place your bets, everybody. Will I get distracted in the nether and end up raiding my 3rd bastion? So clearly I was not joking when I mentioned wanting to take an entire bastion apart in the previous episode, but I may have gotten carried away just the tiniest bit. At least we won't have to worry about getting resources for the hopefully foreseeable future. Also, these structures are a lot bigger than they seem at first, because that was just half a floor. Man, this wood is so gorgeous. It is astonishing that I have not yet died for somebody who keeps falling down random holes in the nether. Guys, I just saw something so cool. I did not know that the state of shelves could change, and I love it. This is such a unique or like cool block to use to detail with. I kind of wish you could just activate it once and then have them activated forever to not need them to have like a redstone block or lever behind them, but it's good to know. I'm also surprisingly not mad about the red peeking through. I think it kind of adds something. It's cool. it's different. Oh, that is so exciting. I need Minecraft to do that more. And we've made a little bit of progress over here. This is going to be the small reception area. And interestingly enough, ta-da-da-da, suppose for staff to like bring out food, drinks, whatever to the spa area. Oh, hello salmon. Never in my life did I think that I was gonna enjoy glazed terracotta this much, but I am placing this as my goal for this just entire world, is to start using blocks I would have never used before. Something that this build has taught me is the importance of just balancing the amount of detail. And I can just immediately show two examples of this right here. And the first one isn't too far away. It's just this hallway, because my first instinct coming from painting and my general art style was to say, oh, I need a gradient in these walls. But that would be the worst possible decision, because there's already so much going on with different textures, from the sandstone stairs, from different colors, etc. It would be too much to also add gradients to the bone blocks, especially because the available gradients are too stark. They're not really smooth. Now, the other example is this corner, and it's a bit of an opposite example where detail is necessary, because with the windows, etc. on the sides, there's too much going in, so unintentionally this corner turns into the focus of the screenshot or the frame that we're looking at right now, simply due to the fact that it's the singular empty space. So what we gotta do to balance everything out is do the gradient that we've done for the rest of the bone block walls. Just add a little bit of sand and sandstone to redraw the focus to the actual windows. This room, on the other hand, in my opinion, features a different kind of problem when it comes to contrast, and it's just genuinely the contrast of values that is sorely lacking. Please ignore the holes in the floor. I noticed that I need beehives and I don't have a beehive farm just yet. Everything is just blending together. I got entirely too used to using spruce, both in the floor and then the beams, and then the ceiling, and then the furniture, and then the counter. So I think this one will have to be redone. You know what? We'll try it now on camera. Why not? Let's just see. If we just take these out here and quickly just a test for now, so I'm not all too worried about catching every single block. Trying to curb my perfectionism in this case, because this is a learning experience. Okay. So just in theory, what does this look like? I'm gonna be so very honest, it's already better. You walk in, boom. I feel like the horse of absolute agreement. I am actually so excited because I may have run out of terracotta, so clearly I'm on the way to get some more. And look what I found. My first parrot. I've never had a parrot in Minecraft before, so this is the best day of my life, clearly. Also, I'm simply not gonna worry about being in a jungle forest in the middle of the night. Oh my god, love me. How can I put them on my shoulder? Do you follow me now? Is that a thing? Something, repeating the same action and expecting a different outcome being the definition of insanity. I know you can place them on your shoulder, but how? This is the best day of my life. Also, I'm terrified. time to get to the Badlands, because surely they cannot be worse than this. Okay, goodbye. This is fine. Yippee. Oh my god, the little noises. I gotta say though, I do find it a bit disappointing that the parrots fall off whenever you fall down. Because it kind of destroys the possibility to just run around and explore with your parrot if it constantly keeps jumping off of your shoulder. And with a little bit of movie magic, this tiny alleyway will transform. I think we gotta go get mud first. Let's go. Oh no. I don't know how I feel about this. Okay, guess we're just gonna try and leave. I love how I started this video being like, no distractions. Today we're just gonna focus on building, and then 3 minutes later, it is so painful to run past these things. to run past these things. Just a little bit. Just a peek. Just a curious little peek around the corner. Oh boy, I am already lost. An inventory full of mud and a fun little water slide later. It's time to actually return to the inn and go for the home run. A little bit of mud and terracotta later, and we have this beautiful little alleyway connecting the fishing hut and our kitchen. The backside rooms are more or less going to follow the exact same scaffolding we've laid down at the front. The main difference to the other rooms is honestly going to be the color palette and the fact that these are floating outside, and thus are going to need support arches. The more time I spend building this in, the more I realize I am in actual desperate need of having more blocks, because I cannot keep using shelves for absolutely everything. It's a perfect block for this outside texture. It makes a really nice wall texture, but the inside is a bit obnoxious. I think I would go crazy if I went to a hotel room and this is what the walls look like. I have very much made use of the yellow terracotta in the foundation and kind of turned it into the inn's accent color, if you will. The rooms have more or less been decorated, so it's time to make the actual exterior look pretty. As you can see, I've already found an arch design that I kind of really like, and what remains is to just replicate it for the remaining areas that need it. Another thing that I am of the opinion of is that the wall needs to be pushed out to kind of fill the space in to make it look like it's an actual full-on addition and like the rooms aren't just balconies floating in the air. Haven't fully decided whether I want to do it in bone or in terracotta, so I think the easiest thing to do is just make a fake wall here and test it out. And depending on what's gonna look best, I suppose that's gonna be what we're gonna use. Time to build the actual rest. Please ignore the signs of the perhaps rather unfortunate encounter I just had with a skeleton. We are done. Nice amount of detail, quite a few arches all around, and I think it turned out rather nicely. Now there is a small secret area. Honestly, I don't know why I'm calling it secret. It's not secret. It's just a nice little area here in the back. I suppose the inn could use it as a storage space, and we don't talk about the glaring hole in the ceiling. That's that's an issue for next episode, but also because of one very simple reason. The reason sitting over here. I cannot decide which eye design I prefer, whether it would be A, which is this one. I'll just use Cheaty Gam for a second. B, which is this tiny one. I honestly dislike this one the most. Or C, which unfortunately requires a much larger space. So, give your opinion in the comments. I would be very happy to hear which eye design you prefer, or if you perhaps have option D. And with that, I think we've honestly done a lot, even with this being a very, well, time-lapse heavy episode. I hope you have fun, and, well, I'll see you in the next one.